paranormal evidence.
Tonight, see what truly exists inside the world of the paranormal. Inside. Join the discussion and review some of the best paranormal evidence captures from a wide variety of experienced and up-and-coming investigators. See and hear what they capture, where they captured it, and how they captured it. Right now on Entity Voices.
Paranormal evidence.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. I am Chris.
I am Audra.
I am Tony.
And I am Cherie. I'm here.
Yay!
I miss you guys.
We miss you too.
Why do we sound like the Newlywed Game from the 70s every time we open the show? And I'm wrong. We have to cut that
Question
out.
one.
We are just happy to have our little fortune cookie back on the show.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you mean her?
Yeah, I mean,
My fortune cookie was working overtime and sick.
Aw.
Yeah.
It is good to have her back. It's good to have everybody here. We're all here.
I
in
know.
attendance.
Glad that the Raptors are feeling better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very much so.
Darn COVID.
Yeah, wicked stuff.
Yeah.
All right,
Everybody
well,
have a good weekend. Do anything eventful? No, I know Tony and I almost had and Sheree was recovering still, but we had a direct radio voice filled weekend as well.
Oh, nice.
There was,
Testing and experience.
Yeah, just some amazing stuff going on with it, and some new purchases. I know
Yeah.
Ron got one. Lourdes has one coming yet. I purchased one. Won't talk about it yet, but some cool stuff with it. We're making some advancements in the filtering operations, and I have about 20 tests yet to run. One of these days, I'll actually be able to accomplish some of them. But
Yeah.
Cool.
Good
You're
stuff.
doing it. You're doing it. It's been good, man. It's we've been going back and forth. We're trying to move things
Right.
forward, trying some new stuff. It was nice, I think, for you probably too, to have a weekend where we could mess around a little bit with the stuff that we're, our experimental side, and not be running around to events all the time.
yeah, it
Yeah, we
is nice to take a little bit of break from that once we, got into the end of November, beginning of December.
Yeah.
The October stuff fell away. Took a while, but it's good to do that stuff too. But yes, it is good to take a break and be able to refocus on, what you're researching, what you're trying to find out, and then you realize your list is 1,000 times longer than what you thought it was, and then you got to find time for that. So it's a struggle, but it's good
And
stuff.
Chris, you and Audra had an easy week. You guys didn't have any event thing going on last weekend, right?
No, we didn't, but I started reviewing the evidence from our investigation at the Trivik Clinic up in North Carolina.
Okay.
And interesting enough, the first EVP I caught said Audra's name.
Wow.
Wow.
So more to come. We'll reveal that on one of our own evidence shows. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
I'll send it to you guys on the side once I enhance it a little bit and clear it up.
Very good.
It's funny because most people, when they get their name, they freak out, and we're like, "Yay!" They said,
Well, what was neat is we were coming up the stairs from the basement, and I'm like, oh, because I just knew somebody was behind me.
Mhm.
You get that flat feeling, and they're just too close, and so I just kind of got out of the way. And Carrie asked, Majesty is her name, right?
Yes.
Majesty. So there's supposed to be a little girl named Majesty in that basement. And she had asked, Majesty, were you following Audra up the stairs? And we heard a male go, no.
No, he said no.
Wow.
He said no. Get out. Tell Audra. So once,
"Wow!"
That's really cool, though.
well, the best part about it
That's
is
going to be
about a minute before that, Audra was asking them, if you give us a sign, then we'll leave for now and come back later. And
We got the sign.
we got the sign. And it's a
Oh,
male
wow.
voice, and I was the only male in all 4,500 square feet of this building. So
Yep.
it's pretty cool.
It was cool.
That's awesome.
Wow. So I'm assuming when we do another review of our own evidence episode that we're going to get to see that,
Oh yeah,
Hear that?
oh yeah. Have
experience
it all
that.
prepped and ready for the next show that we do with our evidence. So.
Yeah, that's going to be something to hear.
If
Awesome.
we don't have a guest.
Yeah, when we don't have a guest.
Well, we don't have guests. Unlike tonight, because we have some cool
Yeah,
guests.
unlike tonight.
Yeah.
So, nice segue, Audra. High five.
Ah,
Way to go, Audra.
Way to
Thanks,
go.
guys.
All right, guys. So tonight we actually have Vinny and Roger from the Arizona Paranormal Investigation and Research Society in Arizona. These guys are really good friends of they've met a few times. Let's go ahead and bring them. I could read their bio, but it's better when you hear it from the source. So we'll go ahead and bring them in. Everybody say hello to Vinny and Roger.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Guys,
Gentlemen, how you doing?
Hanging in there. How you guys doing? Hello, everybody.
good.
Hanging in there as well.
Awesome.
All right, guys. I'll let you pick who goes first, but we always introduce guests by you tell our audience what got you started in the paranormal. In other words, what hooked you on this fascinating, expensive, passionate, indulging
Journey.
journey that we all live in. Yeah.
All right, well, we'll have the old guy start. Basically, when I was 5 years old, my grandfather passed early in the year, and I ended up seeing him. I didn't understand it. Grabbed my mother. She had no answers. We're talking about 63. So you didn't talk about things like that. You were shushed. But I always had a desire of finding out why. So as I got older, I got more involved in researching and going to libraries. There was no internet back at that time. So I did a lot of research. Kids were out playing, games and stuff on Saturday, football, and I was at the library.
wow.
Wow. That'll definitely get you going in it. How about you, Roger?
TV was the start of the inspiration, and then I grew out of that and actually started going more scientific. I started going on the public tours with Vinny's group first,
Oh,
and then I attended enough to where they invited me to come on board.
Wow.
That's
How
nice.
long ago was that?
Yeah, how many
It
years?
was a year ago this October.
Ooh, we have a green investigator in the building, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
Newbie, but
But that-
solid.
That's good.
Yes,
That's
right.
good because you're paired up with someone who's been in the field for quite a long time,
Yes.
and that's important. And people like him fascinate me, and I admire because it was not trendy and cool, and for lack of a better way to say it, a fashion statement thing to be a ghost hunter person back in the 60s and 70s. So you had to, like he said, there was no internet, so you had to go after stuff, and the pursuit of knowledge was an actual pursuit. It wasn't like, let me just flip on this device in my palm
Right.
and goggle something.
Goggle.
Goggle something. No, you're absolutely right, though, Ron. And, not only just the fact that it was more difficult from what was available from technical devices. I mean, recorders were 10 times the size what they are today. And, you needed 4 or 8 D batteries just to run it and make it portable. But you also had the stigmatism of society that, none of this was looked favorably upon. And, so you had to kind of do it in the shadows, so to speak, and then not talk about it. That to me would be terribly frustrating because let's face it, half the fun is discussing what you captured, sharing it with other groups. And investigation has been happening for hundreds of years, but to be able to not be able to freely discuss it, that'd be tough. No doubt about it. Yep.
Even for the
I
client,
gotta-
so
Right.
apprehensive to kind of reach out to somebody. That's very personal, very intimate. And like you said, back in the day, that was something that was frowned on. You're going to a rubber room if you talk that nonsense. So
Right.
Yeah.
different times.
Yeah.
So Vincent, this is something that people like you are best to answer, because for people who are new, this is an enlightening thing, I guess, to ask. 2-part question: did you ever imagine that the paranormal field would be at the point it is now, with how widespread and how saturated it is in media? And part two, are you surprised at all at how much of the negative halo it still kind of has with the stigmatism, even though there's so much of an abundance of evidence with consistency to it?
Well, yes, it's definitely changed. You know, the television coming out, all that really ignited the team aspect. You know, there was a lot of people that were seeing things on television, thought it was something really interesting. They were always interested in paranormal. And paranormal is a very big word. It doesn't necessarily mean spirits. We're talking about, you know, so many different genres. So as far as that growing, yes, it was almost like a snowball. The public has always been the way they are. I think 45% of the population do believe in spirits or afterlife. That's still less than half the people. And that's people that sort of believe, but then when you try to present what you actually do, that you are an investigator, that you do research of this phenomena, they look at you like you're nuts.
Yeah.
They're like, what do you do?
Yeah. No, there's some truth to that. You know, and 45%, I believe that is the correct percentage, believe in them, but 92% are afraid of them. So that's kind of strange how that works.
Yeah.
Those numbers never match up. I had read something with spirit communication. It said that 70% of Americans, I think it was in the 80s, believed in an afterlife, but 70% of that 70% didn't believe it was possible to contact it or to communicate with it.
Right.
That's another great example.
It's really odd, but it's people like Vincent staying in the field for a long time who persist and get other people involved, and that's the only way. If everybody who started out a long time ago dropped off, there would be no momentum in education and growth and experience, and no aggregation of data over a long period of time, because people would be dropping out of the field.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Well, and Roger's got some advantage too, is that he teamed up with Vinny, which is a phenomenal thing, because as a new investigator, I mean, we just talked about this with Adam Nodler last week. People don't realize how real this world that we live in can be, and how dangerous at times it could possibly be. And for Roger to get teamed up with Vinny is a fantastic thing, because not only are you learning from the experience that Vinny already has after many, 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 many years of investigation, but you can take that and you actually become a better paranormal investigator than starting with a new group that's green, or if not greener, and doesn't really know. I mean, just equipment alone, Vinny could give you great advice, and then protecting yourself going into an investigation is phenomenal too. So, I mean, good for you, Roger, for teaming up with Vinny, and Vinny, good for you for bringing him in so you can bring somebody into this paranormal community we all live in and show them what right looks like, instead of some of these wild ass people that we have out there nowadays just going, hey, let me grab a recorder and run into the first abandoned building I can find and end up dead because I didn't look at stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know, for the client aspect, you do need to be balanced. You do need to somewhat know what you're doing, but you're dealing with, again, very intimate experience. So the right type of person. Everybody is not made to be a paranormal investigator. Maybe a ghost hunter, going out to locations and, you know, walking around with your meters and your recorders, sure, but to actually go and work with somebody, especially today with the different types of drugs that are available, everybody's on something, watch TV, and there's 14 different drug commercials over the course of an hour. So there's a lot of things that are going on. People are self-medicating. It's difficult now. You know, a lot of negativity. COVID just kicked the crap out of everybody. So we have all these influences in our life that kind of, you know, hold us down. So, you know, a lot of negativity can really start flowing, and got to be able to deal with people, you know, almost like you're a detective and you're a psychologist rolled into one. And you have to go in that route. And you have to be careful, because people that do believe and watch the television shows, if you're not careful and you're presenting them evidence and not explaining it properly, here they think they have demons. All of a sudden there's problems within the home. There's divorce. There's all different things, work issues. So you really have to be careful. And you know, there's two different things, like I said, an investigator and a ghost hunter. There's nothing wrong with either one of them.
Yeah.
Right.
At this time, we'd like to ask our audience, people who are new, to pick up their pencils and write that shit down.
Right. Right. Exactly. Well,
Because that's valuable information.
It's great information, and Vinny brings up a very valuable point too. As an investigator going into, say, a private home investigation, you have to know as a paranormal investigator what you tell the client and what you don't tell the client, right?
So
I mean, there might be stuff that you realize going into the house that you don't tell the client, because even if you go in and say you do a cleansing at the house, you don't want to tell them why you're cleansing it, because, I mean, just because you cleansed it, they'll still be scared shitless to sit in the house, right?
Your house has demons, and I hate the drapes.
That wallpaper's got to go. It's negative.
No, but there is the truth in that, Chris. I mean, you gotta you have, before you say anything, you want to be able to get enough proof and test to be sure yourself before you say it. Second of all, what Vinny was saying about making sure you say it correctly so they don't misunderstand, so that they don't go to conclusions that are, terribly far away from where you were trying to head them. But it is difficult. And when we started doing home investigations, oh my gosh, just finding out before you even got to the paranormal, did they take the medication they were prescribed, or did they not take it? Are they taking something they weren't prescribed? There were so many factors that we had to filter through before we could even get to testing.
Right.
What's the first place you go to in somebody's house? Medicine cabinet. That's what we used to do, just to find out what they have. We have an intake form that we use to get that information. But again, that's personal. That's very private. A lot of people don't want to share that, but there is some truth to the aspect of using drugs. That's it's got to be taken into consideration.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get into some of this awesome evidence you guys have brought to us. So I'm going to dig into the first one, and you know what? In the past, we've had our guest explain before we show it, but let's show it first and then have you guys go into detail with it. And I put this one first because this one has a personal
near and dear
to our hearts, especially Tony and Cherie. So I'm going to go with the Aho Hospital and let everybody take a listen. All right, here we go.
Wow.
That hospital.
That was great. That nurse. Play that one more time, Chris. That was really good.
All right.
Yeah, it was.
Turn up your sound, folks. Here we go.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's undeniable. That's crazy.
Very clear.
Yeah.
Bring back the memory.
Yeah.
Now, if you hear the background of that, you hear howling wind. The first time we went up there, you drive up and you're going around to get to it, and you got this ominous thing sitting on top of this hill. We get up, tumbleweeds flying across the car. We go in, and the owner took us for a walk through the entire facility, and the wind is just howling, and it's going through nooks and cracks and different things. It was like the building was speaking. And I just looked at my wife and I said, "Holy shit, we're in for one hell of a ride tonight." That place smoked it. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was an awesome location. Chris and I covered a lot of the windows to darken it for when the time would change. Some of our beginning investigations, it was still light out. So Chris is like, "Let's just put up black paper," which worked perfectly to darken those hallways. You didn't know whether the sun was out or not when that paper was up. But the wind you're referring to would rattle that paper, and people would walk and just freak out.
Especially on that first floor, that one room down the hallway from the nurse's station on that first floor.
Oh, yeah.
They had a lot of people that would break in and try and get into the building. So somebody had busted out one of the panes on the window in that one room. Yep. And that paper would rattle. And it even got us at first. It was like, what the hell is that noise? Do you guys hear that?
I remember that.
Yeah. So yes, that
those EVPs. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're good.
Well, I was gonna say those EVPs. They you can hear the emotion in it. Like they were not feeling well or in pain or something, calling for the nurse and for help. Yeah. So they were good. Good.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just said they were good.
No, they were. But what I liked about it was the second one when he says help, there's almost an echo to it. Like it's coming from down a long hall.
Right.
That, I think, is just amazing.
I think both words had it, but there seemed to be more echo on the second word, which is interesting. It almost has Doppler effect written on it, right? From how the sound was possibly traveling in the environment. But that was really good stuff. They were clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, very clear.
Yeah, that's all. Most of the EVPs, different stuff we have are from unattended setups. We usually just roll everything. We leave a lot of locations and let it run. It seems that's where a lot of the activity that we are able to capture is unmonitored. Nobody's around. It's basically it's them back themselves and the comments and different things that happen. Kind of interesting, and that was a great catch at that place.
Yeah.
A lot of EVP.
And touch base on that location. That location, I mean, it's been on Destination Fear, it's been on Ghost Hunters, but I can tell you, from all the investigations we've done in that location, we've caught patients, we've caught nurses, we've caught doctors. I mean, we caught the whole gamut in that location. That was a phenomenal location. It's a disappointment that place is now closed to us, but
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, it is.
Never
Yeah,
say
I mean,
never.
we've done.
Never say
Yeah.
never.
Yeah, I was going to say we've done so many episodes where we showcased our own evidence, and between Chris and Audra and Tony Cherie, some of the stuff that has come out of that place from where we're sitting was astounding. It was really good stuff that we were really hoping to be able to go there one day, but
We were really hoping to take you, but
I know.
cut short right at the end. But it did produce, and depending on environmental conditions, when it was thundering and lightning, that place would just absolutely go crazy.
Yep. Came alive for sure.
Oh, that one night, we swore to God there was going to be a tornado outside. A monsoon came
It was
in.
horrible.
Water was running down the wall on the second floor, which created that direct radio white noise type situation where we were all up on the second floor, and everybody knows Chris used to be law enforcement, so I tend to have things with me that for protection in case we need it. I won't say it out loud because we'll get banned on Facebook, but there was actually one night where we heard it sounded like 4 or 5 males on the first floor when we were on the second floor. And Chris actually switched to law enforcement mode, and I cleared the building. And Cherie actually did a promo video with me doing it.
Yeah, she did. But you did. I heard it too. I thought you were absolutely right. I thought somebody had broken in.
Yeah.
And they didn't know we were in there.
James Bond in the house.
And like, stay here. He was gone, and I'm like, I'm going with him. But there was nothing in the building.
Nothing in the building.
Nothing at all. It was.
I mean, it literally sounded like that scene from Breakfast Club when Judd Nelson starts running through the school, banging the lockers, screaming and yelling, trying to get the attention of the principal. That's what it sounded like on the first floor, and we were on the second. It was intense. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
wow.
All right. Sorry, reminiscing. Sorry, Roger and Vinny.
Love that place. Thanks for that clip.
All right,
Yeah,
you guys.
great.
Yeah, it was a great clip. You guys provided you provided quite a few great clips, but this next one, I like this one a lot. This one's called Jail Shadow. We'll go ahead and show it, and then you guys can talk about it. Here we go.
Oh.
Holy cow!
Creepy.
That was there was a company that came in there. They wanted to get a little information on the jail. The girl that was in that video, she's one of the historians. She does history tours there during the day. There was nobody else in the building. We were doing events there that night. We weren't even on site at that point. It was 3 people in there. It was the historian, and it was the film guy and his girlfriend or his assistant, whatever the case may be. That head hops in, looks, and pulls back out. It's very difficult to see on that video because he was just walking around with his camera loose. But as you can see, the side of the head is shaved. It looks like almost those type of flannel shirts that a lot of the inmates would wear back in the 50s and all. Spot on. That thing, when she saw it, this woman is scared of a lot of stuff, and she does this jail by herself. she flipped out when she saw that. It's a really incredible piece. I just wish it was more centered and more where we had a little bit of a closer look at that. But it was an incredible catch.
Let me do this. Let me, instead of, because StreamYard doesn't allow us to pause it, but I can share my screen with the video that you sent. Let me share my screen so I can pause it at the right moment.
That's a great idea.
Give me just a second. Sorry, guys. And there is the.
Love that.
That is so cool. All right, here we go. And then it pops up on the wrong damn screen. Hang on. Okay, now my computer's pissing me off. Hang on, guys. Let me move it over here.
Yeah, move it to your other screen and select that screen because you're right now you're showing the screen you're on. No.
It looked like 28 people were hosting the show. Just saying.
All right,
For you, that's actually the Gila jail up in Lake Arizona.
oh, okay, so this is the 1910 Jeff.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, look at that.
Okay, there we go. Let me see. Can I zoom in on this? It's not going to let me, but that's a pretty good video right there. That's a pretty good pause.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Creepy.
So
That's a great catch.
Yeah, this is fantastic. I like being able to pause this because if you look really close, the distinction between her and him, there is a light source coming through from a window next to her that's off to her, what would be our right on the screen, which would be her left. If you notice, that light source is not reflecting off of his face.
Right.
Nope.
That's a good point.
Yeah, man, that's good, man.
Because where he's standing, that light source should be hitting him right in the cheek and should be lighting up his face just like hers.
Yes, it's up.
At least part of it.
At least part of it, the top of his head, his forehead,
Right.
something.
Is it at the jail?
Yeah, that's at the jail.
Wow.
Well, and if you look really close, if you look at the top edge, you can see my. Oh wow, I like this. Yeah, you can see my arrow.
Yeah.
You can almost see where the top edge of his head is almost not completely manifest. It's almost like a mist formation here, to where you can see her. She is very defined. So this is one hell of a capture.
So
That's amazing.
That
It
is.
is good. Yeah.
Wow.
And he should have a light source on this portion of his face because he's standing right next to her. So you can see how she's getting it right here.
Yeah,
That is a phenomenal catch.
that's amazing.
That is.
It's awesome.
That's some good stuff.
Wow.
cool.
That is.
When you guys come from Jersey, come on. We'll take you up to the jail. If you come out here.
Jail's an awesome
And the
place.
YMCA, Vinny.
Yeah. We gotta get there before we freeze our, off. It's getting cold up there.
I know.
Temperatures are dropping.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So Ghost Tube Jail. I'm assuming that's the same location, Vinny?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
No regret. Flame. Vincent.
That's me. Hi there. You remember me now?
Well, if you think about it.
Behind you.
Are you behind me again? Vinny is. Who's behind you? I'll laugh if it says Vincent. Yeah, really. Hey there, I'm back.
In front of you.
Wow. That's weird. That's weird. Who's in front of me?
Moving up and down.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
That was.
A lot of interaction. I mean,
You want to talk about intelligence, timing, relevance? Good God.
yeah.
Apps, apps are apps, just like any other tool. You can't just rely on that. The interesting part about it, I contacted Amy and Jared, the developers of the app, and talked to them. My name is not in the database, so it's kind of interesting. They have, 20-something languages, and there's nothing even close to that name. So it identified me, but also the magnetometer cannot sense proximity. It knew I stepped behind Keith, who was the investigator there that was running the session, and then I walked forward of him, and it described my movement again. So that was kind of unique. If it just said Vincent, whatever. But just being able to see those two things, like you said, relevant to what was the action that was going on. That was interesting.
Right.
Yeah, the app world gets a bad rap, and I understand why, because there's an ignorance and trust level. We're not all programmers. We don't all understand the UI and how it works, and so we think the microphone's doing stuff. We think that it's programmed to do stuff, and it's got things built into it to tantalize and tease. But the thing is that if we believe that we seem to, mostly in the field, that they can manipulate electronics, then it makes it less implausible, because what they're doing is they're affecting or interacting with the device. At the time, there's an app open that avails them to being able to communicate, whether the words or names are in there or not. So when you have that timing and relevance on top of it, it's even more compelling to have that. But it's an electronic piece of equipment, and if they can interact with anything else, they can do it with the phone. So it's not whether the Ghost app is legit or not. They're using the device, and that's what you're running, and that makes it even more plausible for them to come through or to do stuff like that. That's phenomenal documentation that if somebody believes that happened just through happenstance and dumb luck, I mean, how do you support that assertion? That's crazy.
And the timing and relevance is undeniable.
Yeah.
It was describing this movement.
In about a 42-second clip. It followed his directions twice, said his name.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. The mathematical probability of that happening out of random chaos, impossible. So
and Vinny made a very good point too with the proximity sensor. I mean, even my iPhone 14 Plus that we have right now can't do a thermal camera without an attachment.
Right.
Right. None of them have anything that would attach to an app that you were using at that location at that time during that investigation that has a proximity sensor. No. And it knew you were behind him and knew you were in front of him at the same time. That was the paranormal Powerball right there, is what that was.
And that was cool. That was good.
Yeah, and the movements that it documented were now. How many people were in the room at the time, Vincent?
Besides myself, 3 others.
All right, so there's 4 people in the room. It only named one person, and then when it described movements or proximity, it was the same person. Stack that sprinkle thing on top of your sundae, because that's even more like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Well, that was cherry and the whipped cream, too, with the sprinkles.
Yeah, I just entered that area. I was in a different part of the jail. They were doing a session in there. I came and I joined them. I was there for maybe 10, 15 seconds. It was saying those words. I forgot what it was, flame, whatever it was. Then it said my name. And then that, as you saw the rest, that's how it all, unfolded. So yeah, it's very, very, very interesting. It's a good catch. It just, again, that jail is absolutely awesome. The hospital, if that's your baby, my baby's this jail.
Yeah, there is nothing more awesome than that jail. We've been in there probably, I don't know, six times.
Yeah.
And never been disappointed. I mean, always something happens. Sometimes you got to wait for it. Sometimes you got to search it out, but it's there, and it'll hit you when you least expect it. And when it does, it usually hits hard. But great location.
And the lesson for the novice here is that even though with all the stuff that we've stacked on how compelling and convincing and really almost foolproof that is, he still checked with the app developer to see if the name was in there, just to know. That's what you do when you actually investigate.
Right.
That's what you do.
That was awesome.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. We also have, and this is really cool because we talked about the Estes session last week with Adam Nobler. We also have an Estes session from Vinny and Roger that happened in the jail.
Cool.
Yeah.
Easy.
See, everybody's excited about this clip.
Wow, we have maracas in the budget this week.
Maracas. All right, here we go.
That's awesome.
All right, here we go.
Is there anyone here with us? Can you tell us a little bit about who's here?
Murder.
Where was there a murder? Did you murder someone? Is Kingsley Old here? Kingsley, did you murder Lulu and Myrtle?
You think? I know.
You can speak to us. Are you stuck here?
It'll be okay. I'm here.
Who?
Always.
Who's always here? Are you stuck?
Fear.
Are you afraid to tell us your name?
Stay.
You want us to stay?
You know what you're here for.
We want to talk to you.
Wow.
That was good.
That was
That was
awesome.
good. Wow. That was dialogue.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, up at the jail, radio stations are pretty much irrelevant. So whatever communication she was actually coming, and she had no idea what we were saying. The Estes method from Estes, Colorado, I think it was in 2016. Their deal was using a walkie-talkie. I prefer not to do. It's bad enough we have 3,300 satellites above us bombing us. The less amount of electronics I have that I don't really need to have, like walkie-talkies, the better. So what we do is we actually do our session all together. Hopefully our combined energies will enhance. And that session was actually pretty much spot on. Background on that, we were talking about Kingsley Olds, who was accused of killing his employer's two little girls, Lulu and Myrtle, back in 1911. So that was pretty much the gist and the background of that actual session.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That was amazing. I mean, just the timing and relevance to the questions asked, to the responses that were given, the speed at which they were coming back, the answers were coming in. That was one of the better ones I've seen. That was great.
It was. And I like your technique, Vinny. If you look at the video, he's got the ultraviolet light focused on the person that's sitting there. Then he's got the thermal focused on the person that's sitting there, and then he's got an IR camera focused on. So multiple points of investigation materials that you're using there to validate your evidence. That's pretty cool. That shows the experience that Vinny brings to these investigations. That he's not just recording it on a digital recorder. He's also videoing it. He's also thermaling it. He's also IRing it. He's also got the damn, I forgot what it was called again.
SLS.
Chris does this at least once a show. But the multiple
The SLS camera.
Yes, the SLS camera. The multiple points of evidence capturing that shows the experience that Vinny brings to the table, and that's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's what the toys are for, is to corroborate between different points of capture.
It's not for the lights, people. It's not for the lights.
Though we do like the fancy lights.
Yeah, the lights are fun.
But yeah, that's the point. That's fantastic. Thorough.
Yeah. Sorry, Vinny, go ahead.
Evidence has to validate evidence. Evidence needs to support evidence. Otherwise, it's interpretation.
Correct.
True. Very true.
Very good. All right, the next piece of evidence we got is, and I put this in order, I'm assuming the courthouse EVPs are also the courthouse there with the 1910 jail?
Right next door, yeah.
Perfect. So this is courthouse EVPs. Here we go.
Wow. Those were good.
Those were good.
Yeah. Do you guys remember that night I played like 23 clips and basically it was my stuff that entire show?
No, don't remember that at all.
Don't remember that at all?
It's good.
That same location.
Yeah.
Now you know
Those
how
are good.
that floor creaks when you walk on it. Those footsteps, there was nothing around it.
Yeah.
You know,
It
some of
sounded
those
like a
was
book.
enhanced with Adobe. One of our investigators, Leland, he ended up running that through processors, and he actually cleaned a lot of that up. Those are all, again, stationary cameras, nobody around, nothing. And we pulled some incredible stuff. That place is a gem. It's never really been investigated. So it's interested in us as well as we are of it. And it shows because it's making comments about things that are going on.
Yeah. That place is incredible. And those are some excellent EVPs. I mean, clear, multiple words, longer sentences. And that's what we got there too.
Yeah.
We got the craziest stuff from there. But just fantastic job. Fantastic EVPs.
We'll be back
Those footsteps.
Those
in January. We're going to start doing public events there.
Oh, nice.
The thumbs up. So we're going to get a lot of people to get a chance to enjoy that. But as I explained to them, we can't do this every month. They need a break from us. It's like Halloween. Everybody loves Halloween, but we don't want people coming to trick or treat every weekend.
Right. No, that's true.
Got to give it space.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
All
Yeah,
right.
that was good stuff.
The next clip we have is Arcadia Child EVP, and this one's interesting because Tony, when he heard it, actually took it and enhanced it a little bit. So we have two of the same clip that I'm going to play now. So let's start with the one Vinny sent in. Here we go.
Oh,
yeah.
It's pretty good.
When I heard it, I heard something, and Chris knows what I heard because I played it for him. Now, I'm going to play the enhanced version because I'm like, that's a child voice. I can hear it, but I was hearing something familiar. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I enhanced it. Tell me what you hear.
All right, here's the enhanced one.
Huh.
Something happy.
One more time.
Yeah, do it one more time.
Here we go.
Would you like to play and then something about happy?
I hear happy. I do hear happy.
I heard happy.
I do.
Somewhere
At the end.
I could be wrong. I could easily be wrong because it is fake. Just one more time. One more time.
All right, here we go.
Tony, we're happy.
I hear Tony, but I could have sworn I could be wrong.
I hear happy.
Because you guys are hearing
Something.
happy. But yeah, it's just I heard Tony Rathman. I'm
It's
like,
a
what?
child.
Did you?
I did. Still, either way, whatever it says, awesome.
Pretty cool.
Calling you to come down here, Tony.
What was that?
It's calling you to come down, so let's go.
I have not been to Arcadia. That is one place I have not been to yet. Matter of fact, we were talking about that at the last HG
Event.
South. Yeah. And I think you've said something about, Carol Garcia says she heard something. I'm going to put this up.
We heard
Okay.
happy.
Okay, before we get too much further into Tony Rathman, Vinny, explain to everybody where Arcadia is.
It's in Oakland, Arizona. It's about 40 minutes kind of northeast of Tucson.
Okay.
It's an old TV hospital. It was picked up on the Historical Society, I think, in the 80s. It went through so many different things. A boarding house. It was a ranch. The entire area constantly morphed. There was a child in 1937, his name was Robert, who accidentally killed himself with his father's revolver. That is who I think we are picking up because he loves toys. We bring down toys I keep promising him I'm looking for the cast iron Cowboys and Indians.
Oh, wow.
Something I will bring down and I'll leave for him. But he's a very interactive spirit. We have another setup where we have different devices in different rooms. I was setting up a REM pod in one room. You hear the other one go off. I go in there. Are you in here? Another room goes off. I go over there. Are you in here? That room goes off again. So it made me run around like chasing.
Wow.
Can you play?
We know that's good. We know him well.
Can you play the original one and then the one that Tony enhanced? I want to hear both of them again.
So here's the original one. Here we go.
Yeah.
I can hear Tony Rathman in there. I can. Play the other one.
Actually, you can almost hear it better in the original one. Hang on.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, here's the enhanced.
I don't pick it up.
It sounds
I think
something like we're happy, or something. Tony, we're happy, or whatever.
I think it's saying Tony, are we happy, or something like that.
Something like
Tony, are
that.
we happy? I think Tony, are we happy? Yeah.
When did you get this clip, Vinny?
Where that was in the hospital room, the old TV room, that's in there. Maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's been a while.
Okay.
I don't even remember who was on that investigation. No.
Was there a Tony?
Tony.
There wasn't a Tony.
We had John, we had a Kevin.
Yeah.
A while ago.
I
So
hear Tony, are we happy? I think it's Tony, are we happy?
I heard,
but in the original, I hear Tony Rathman when the lower one sounding. I hear Tony Rathman.
That's what I heard on the original. I'm like, I want to pump this up. I want to see if
I heard Tony is Batman.
You're giving away too much, Chris. Too much.
If Tony's a billionaire that lives in a mansion and has a bat cave, then I'm a little pissed off because we've been friends for years and he knows I'm a Batman fan. I'm a little upset. All right, guys, before we go to the next clip, I just want to let you know that in about 7 minutes, UNX is going to go to their next audio program, but we are going to continue live on Facebook and YouTube and finish up with Vinny and Roger so we can finish up their clips and they can get their shameless promos in at the end, or shameless plugs at the end. And we can get them out. Plugs, promos, however you want to call it. All right, so this next one's in Arcadia too. This is the shadow sensor. Here we go.
Try really hard to make all the lights go off. Oh, there's one.
And you knock on the
Oh,
wall.
look at that one.
Right. And you knock on the wall.
Wow.
Look at that. Thank you.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay, now Chris, you have a iPhone. Your phone, your model actually sends out IR focus.
Yeah.
Those types of phones would cause that to go off. The gentleman that was in that video has an older phone. There's no IR. It's just black. So that was extremely curious stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. And I also want to point out that an ice room back in those days would have been about 6 inches thick, made with, you could see it with the sandstone rocks, river rocks, stuff like that. The total darkness is there to contain the cold. There's no chance of any frequencies breaking through that wall that would set those off. And the equipment that you had sitting next to that shadow sensor was not strong enough, and it's not the right frequency that would have set that off either. So that's pretty cool evidence. Let's watch that again.
That was very cool. You know, I do have a question though. One answer both from Vinny and from Roger. But when you guys are out investigating, what's your favorite or go-to piece of equipment?
I'll let you go first.
I like it all. I don't know. Yeah, I try to use everything at least once. There's not one that I go to consistently first. It's just the feeling I get at the location.
That's a good point, because there's a lot of times you walk into a place and you kind of get pushed towards a device to try in a location. So that makes perfect sense. What about you, Vinny?
Well, not to be facetious, but whatever's working at the time. There are certain things that you'll bring out, like a REM pod. It'll never go off you. You have all different devices going on. Reason being is maybe that specific entity is able to interact with this, but not this. So if it's happy with that, let's stay and continue with that. So whatever happens to be pretty much strong and working. Personal favorite, I don't really have any. I take out tons of gear with me, and there's my wife yells at me, "What we got all this shit for?" It sits in the case. We rarely take a lot of it out. This is working. This is fine. Digital recorder, yeah. Camera, yeah. All over the place.
We take it all.
Take their
It's
point
true.
there.
We take it all. And then we don't even use half the stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
need it because
You
you
have
never
to
know.
know.
Right.
He's
You
right.
have
I
to
wish I
know.
bought this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
I can tell you we have spent hours helping Tony unload his flippin' car
Oh my God. Thank you, Chris. Thank
to
you.
have him use 3 flippin' pieces of equipment
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah,
and then turn around and reload the flipping car for 2 flippin' hours.
But you never know.
But
You
to
never know.
Roger's
It's
point,
true. And then
the
he's like,
one
damn,
time
I
I
left it at
don't
home.
take
Exactly.
It's at home. I'm with you guys.
the one time you don't take it, you're gonna go, "Oh, I wish I had brought the."
Yeah.
I'm serious, Jeff. You ever see Tony Rathman pull up to an investigation? His Nissan is this, and this is the back end of the car.
We went out.
And
we went
Cherie's
out to-
sitting on a telephone book so she can see over the dash because the car's riding like this.
There's some real truth to that. When we went
Yeah.
out for 4 days to investigate the Queen Mary,
Oh my God.
we jammed that car full of everything. I mean, the trunk was so full you couldn't even shut it. Then we packed the back window,
Yeah.
the back
You can't
seat
even
from
see
the
the back.
floor to the roof. I mean, you couldn't fit anything. The seats were as far up as they could be, and I could still drive. I drove all the way to on
Cherie had plenty of room. Tony was up against the windshield.
Tony, we've denied people rides to carpool with. We can't take you.
We exactly.
We understand. We understand. We don't need 74 ghost boxes.
Exactly.
But we would miss them if they don't come. You're going to have to find a ride.
Oh my God.
There's some truth to that. Absolutely.
Excuse me.
Okay, we've got one more piece of evidence for Vinny and Roger. And this one's called the Staten door. And this one is, I love this one, situational awareness. We'll get into it after we show the clip. Here we go.
Give us some type of a sign. Make it knock. Scream as loud as you can.
It actually closed a little bit, I think.
Somebody else wants to join us, please come in. We only want to communicate with you. Okay. Okay. Can you move the door again for us? Can you make a noise? Try to communicate with us to let us know you're here. Thank you. Can you make a noise? Try to communicate with us to let us know you're here. Thank you. You can move the door a little bit more. That's a different door that's moving, right?
Yes, it's closer one.
Are you still here with us? Can you make a sound again? Can you move the door for us? I know it's a lot of work for you to do, but please try. Just let us know you're still here.
Some type of background noise in the background.
Thank you. This is pretty good.
Some type of background noise in the background.
Thank you. This is pretty good.
Wow.
What the hell was that?
Got like an applause right
That was
away or
fantastic.
something.
Yeah.
What was
If
that?
only
Say that again.
What location was that?
Stanton, Arizona. It's an old,
Oh yeah, yeah.
basically. Wells Fargo building is in there, and I was doing a lot of research on Wells Fargo because you figured, back in the day, that's stagecoach, all different stuff that went on here, murders and killings and whatnot. But we were brought up there by a gentleman named James, and he said this place is unbelievably active. That was the Opera House. He was across the street in another series of buildings. We had 2 cameras outside just to shoot the street because it was a fairly big area. Nobody was outside. Nobody was on that actual porch area. There was a windsock across the street. We can see through the window. The thing is not moving. So there's not much that's going to make a breeze blow the door out or blow it in, but rarely that's going to blow out. That's a 2-inch door. And it was moving and creaking. And that's just the visual aspect that I gave you because it's very rare to have anything visual. But that entire night, the EVPs, we were using obelisk sessions, calling our names, reading stuff that's on our shirt, telling us the color of lights. Wow. It was actually a nutty place. A little difficult to get to. You got to go in 4-wheeling, but it's a great place. Not too many people know about it.
Wow.
Are those swinging doors? They swing?
Yep. There are two,
I was just going
doors. There's the saloon doors in front of it. And the 2 doors there, one was crocked open and one was kind of like this, if you can see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
First was the outside door, but then the inside door, and it's actually like moving outward. So that was really freaky. And it wasn't like a little bit. It was moving like 3 or 4 inches. And there was nobody there. That's the thing. As I said, whoever's there, you want to come in, because I honestly thought there was somebody messing around with us. Maybe Jim from across the street. But it wasn't. So it was nuts. That was crazy. That road case, actually, that entire setup was just fate. The guy I was with, John, he put his camera down. He was going to go do something. He was still running. He laid it down, forgot about it. We were doing stuff. We were actually doing an obelisk session, and this was part of that session. It was like a 30-minute session, and boom, we caught that on camera. If it wasn't for him just putting that camera there, we never got it. Maybe
because it's interesting if they're swinging doors, why it would just creak and stay like that, not just swing.
Yeah.
And so proud of you, Mortis.
I was going to say, if only we had somebody on our panel who knew something about doors and windows.
Yeah, that's the answer right
somebody. Wait a minute, Christoph.
So Vinny pointed out a very good point that's about a 2-inch thick door. Actually, it's about 2 1/4 inches thick back then, right? And usually those bar swinging doors, they were usually made out of a hardwood like oak. Most of them were made out of oak. Some of the ones in the West were made out of mesquite or hardwood, ironwood mesquite trees, because they got so much use. Any other type of wood would have gotten too much beat, and they would have ended up falling off. They would have fallen apart because there's so many people coming in and out of those doors all the time. Now, the hinges on those doors are reciprocating spring hinges, right? So it's got a flat hinge like this, and it's got 2 hinges on, or 1 hinge in the center, sometimes 2 hinges, and it'll swing. Sorry, guys. It'll swing like this, and it'll swing like this, and that's how it goes in and it goes out. Now, the only way those things will come to a rest is when those hinges are flat against each other. So I can tell you those hinges, even back then they were designed to have. I mean, those things took a lot of pressure. Even today, they take a lot of pressure. For that door to come up like this and stay, something has to be holding it.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Wow.
Usually those hinges will come back and rest flat against each other again. And then as you go out the other way, then it'll do the same thing in the opposite direction. But they always come flat against each other. Mm-hmm. And I'll play this clip again because it's really interesting now that I pointed all this out and Vinny talked about the way he talked about it. But if you look really close, if there is a wind pushing that, I mean, those door panels probably weighed anywhere from 30 to 45 pounds because of the hard wood, right? And those hinges were made to support them. And usually they had a hinge at the top and a hinge at the bottom. Rarely did they have one hinge because it would always come out of the wood on the wall, because the wood on the wall was never as hard or as thick or as strong as the woods that were put into the door. So they always had 2 hinges. watch the curtain.
I was gonna say that. There's no
any breeze to come through to push that heavy door against that.
Jonah.
I didn't see it.
Everett's comment.
Hi, Everett. So for
Everett, I've never felt more stupid about something that I use every day.
It's actually,
I go through doors like nobody's business. I had no idea.
So it would have had to have been a pretty strong wind to push and hold that door open, and it would have been steady enough that those curtains would have moved.
Would have moved, right?
Back across the street, no breeze, nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's play that again, and after what we all just talked about, pay really close attention to this video. And I want you guys to pay really close attention to the underneath of the doors and just above the doors.
To the left.
It almost looks like you caught a shadow figure.
Yeah.
The left side.
Yeah.
Somebody just said that too. Was it Everett that pointed that out? Somebody pointed it out in the chat.
Yeah, it
too.
was
We saw
Everett. Yep.
Yeah.
But we saw it too.
Good eye. Good eye.
All right, here we go.
Give us some type of a sign. Make it knock. Scream as loud as you can.
It actually closed a little bit, I think.
Somebody else wants to join us, please come in. We only want to communicate with you. Okay. Okay. Can you move the door again for us? Can you make a noise? Try to communicate with us to let us know you're here. Thank you. Can you make a noise? Try to communicate with us to let us know you're here. Thank you. You can move the door a little bit more. That's a different door that's moving, right?
Yes, it's a closer one.
Are you still here with us? Can you make a sound again? Can you move the door for us? I know it's a lot of work for you to do, but please try. Just let us know you're still here.
Some type of background noise in the background.
Thank you. This is pretty good.
Some type of background noise in the background.
Thank you. This is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's crazy.
There are shadows moving all over the place in there. We were pointing them out left and right. It's crazy.
Yeah, you know what? The curtains. He's
The
right.
curtains weren't moving at all.
Not at all.
Mhm. That's crazy.
You know what we just picked up on this one too, watching it, well, I've watched it like 6 times, but Audra watching it a second time right now too. If you look on those back walls, there's paper posted on those back walls. And I mean, even if it was stapled at all 4 corners, you'd still hear that paper move if it was a breeze.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not moving either. Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That was
That's
a great
good
catch.
Mm-hmm.
What you pointed out before, Chris, was the biggest factor in all this paper and curtains and doors moving stuff. Is if the amount of pressure it would take to exert to move those doors is that significant, you would have to have more than subtle movement in the curtains and papers, especially the curtains. They were stoic. There was no movement in the curtains whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah, and watching that video again, those doors they look like they're a dark oak because you see the trim around the door, that's a white pine. So those are 35, 40-pound doors, each one of them. So yeah, that's significant.
It is. Because it should have swung back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Great capture.
Yeah.
Great.
That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This has been one of those shows when we every so often will have one like this where these guys brought like a garden variety of evidence, like so many different aspects of paranormal evidence have been represented in this 1 hour of different types of stuff, and that just gives you how a glimpse at how multifaceted and how much terrain there is to cover and document in what we do, this is a great example of different aspects of paranormal investigating, not just one. And there's nothing wrong with saying one. If you have a specialty, we've had people who do photos or art or audio, and that's, if you have your thing, like Tony asked, what's your favorite thing, that's awesome because you'll excel at it. But this, for a glimpse at the field, awesome.
Phenomenal. Yeah, I agree.
Awesome.
Their team, AZPIRS, does fantastic work. I mean, I've known of them and been friends with them for a couple of years now, and I'd followed them even previously prior to getting to know them. But when they go out and they post stuff from investigations, it's top quality stuff, no doubt about it. They do a great job of doing their research, knowing their environmental circumstances, who's where, what's going on, what's affecting it. They do really good work. Really good work.
And being too.
Yes, he is. Oh, Sheree says Vinny's a really good cook too.
Oh, my wife is, not me.
The last time we went there, you were
barbecuing.
You were barbecuing.
That's easy stuff.
Grill master.
Easy stuff.
Yes.
Master. All right, Vinny, Roger, we have reached the part of the show that we call shameless plugs. Tell our audience where they can find you, YouTube, Facebook, anywhere you have, TikTok if you got it, websites. This is the time for you to, guys, do not hold back. Tell us where we can find you, what you're doing next, what you got coming up.
Okay, first off, we started the paranormal group to get all the different entities that we have. Besides Arizona Paranormal Investigation Research Society, we have a fundraising company called AZ Ghost Tours. All the locations, or I should say most of the locations that you saw, these are public fundraisers that we do throughout the year to raise money for these places because they need it. Without them, they're going to be gone. They're going to be dust. It's going to be a Starbucks. It's going to be something we really don't need. So that's one of the things that we end up doing. In 2013, I started Ghost Hunters Outlet to help investigators get some decent prices on equipment. Certain things you just have to sell, like a K2 has to be at a specific price, but we ship items for free. So that's how we try to save people money. Last year in May, we did our first Paracon up in Globe, Arizona. And it was a huge success. We made the Historical Society lots of money. It's going to be bigger and better this year. We had ghost tours during the day, ghost hunts. Lovely Sherry and Tony, not Tony's lovely, but Sherry and Tony were there. They contributed to our event, and it was just I couldn't be happier. It was all Arizona people coming together to share our Arizona locations and get to meet each other. It was great. It was tons of fun.
It was.
So look forward to that. It's going to be April 22nd this year up in Globe again. Basically, gogparacon.org, azghosttours.org, and for the actual paranormal group, the paranormalgroup.org. AZ Paranormal, it's azpirs.com.
Awesome.
That's all of our stuff. If anybody ever comes out to Arizona, please look us up. It's one of the things we love to share, what we have found, the locations that we can get access to for people. And that's what it's all about. Power Unity is a nice phrase to use, but it's got to mean really something. And it is when people get together to collaborate, to share, to further and understand what are those questions that are all asking. Let's find the answers together. Can't do it alone.
Exactly.
It's too big. It's too big than any of us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So true. So true.
Absolutely. Yeah. Fantastic message, Vinny. Fantastic message. Really appreciate that because we like to promote Parent Unity here too. And you could not have defined it better than in the rest of us. All six of us here, you defined it great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Tony, who was with us tonight?
Everybody. Carol Garcia, Courtney Peterson, Scott Reddick, Everett Barrett, Facebook user.
They show up every week.
ERRT Radio, Omnipresent.
She's new.
Yes, she
Welcome.
is.
Yes.
Yeah, and she's coming back. She
Melissa
said.
Blackman.
Hi, Melissa.
Even Katie Holte were here.
They were.
Yep.
Yes,
Even
yes,
Katie Holte.
Who else?
There were
Chris
Oh yeah, Chris Nuara.
He was, yep.
Leland Lavender is Facebook user. Leland Lavender is Facebook
okay.
user. I'm
Yep.
seeing on the other screen.
A good man.
Frank Barone. Who am I missing?
Good
Courtney
Peterson.
Davidson.
Carol Garcia is here with us every week.
Yeah. My sissy popped in, so Donnie.
Everett.
Pearl.
Everett and Scott Reddick.
Mandelli.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He did
Yeah,
it.
Anthony Simonelli. Tim Coomer.
How you doing?
Nikki Cameron. It just goes on and on and on. We had
Batman.
Great audience.
Yeah, Batman, also known as Tony Rathman, was here.
Sooner or later, he's going to open up a show and go, "I'm Rathman."
You know what? I just might.
You better at this point.
I am Chris. I am Audra. I'm Rathman.
I love it. This was a fantastic show, and we got a lot of compliments in the chat on the show. But I hope Vincent and Roger understand that you guys had everything to do with that. You guys presented such good stuff.
Really?
You represented what people in the field should represent themselves as, both professionally and communally, and the unity, and that's huge. So I mean, there was no aspect of what we would want to put a spotlight on a show that you guys missed. Everything was covered. So this is a great show. I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that coverage was continuous in the evidence you showed as well. I mean, from situational awareness to getting more than one piece of equipment to interact when things were going on, to the knowing what was happening in your surroundings. Just very well done.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Phenomenal. And the message that your team puts out there too, guys, is just phenomenal, especially in this day and age. There's a lot of paradrama that happens in the paranormal community, and the fact that you guys are still holding strong to your values, that the integrity portion of it is just phenomenal with this group here, and we appreciate that. And the message that you guys sent tonight was just fantastic. We could not have had a better message sent on one of our shows than what you guys sent tonight.
I agree.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Say hello for us to your wife, Pam.
She's selling in the other room.
Hope she's watching.
Watch later.
Well, and the fact that you guys are AZ based is very near and dear to our hearts.
Absolutely.
Even though we're in North Carolina now, that's still AZ, still home. So
yeah, they used to live down the street, but
I know. We just
gotta move.
We just found out 1 week then
They were
before
gone.
they move.
Well, we didn't think we were going to get that many offers on the house in 2 days, so it was
quick.
It was quick.
It's okay.
But we still love all you guys, and we still love AZ. Our family's still there.
Yep.
It's still near and dear to our hearts. So.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yep, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yes, we will.
3 weeks, I think.
2.5.
2.5 weeks.
Awesome.
All right, guys. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank Roger and Vinny for coming on and showing such phenomenal evidence, giving us such a great message to leave here tonight with. That is fantastic. We love what you guys represent. We love the fundraising that you do for those locations, because without those locations, you're right, it would be a Taco Bell or a Starbucks, and who the hell wants to investigate that, right? So everybody's listening to tonight. Thank you for showing up. We will see you on the same channel, same time next week. We will all 6 be here, hopefully. Hopefully everybody stays healthy.
Yes.
And so para-unity is a very good message that we like to send, and I don't think that Vinny and Roger could have given a better message when it came to para-unity and what this field. These guys are the perfect example of the integrity that this field needs to maintain in order for us to move forward in this research that we all do, trying to prove that what we do is not just a bunch of bull crap and malarkey, but these guys were a perfect example of how to do it, when to do it, proof of doing it, and what it all represents and where it all comes to. But there's only one way that this stays in the community it is, and the message that they sent tonight, that you have to stay haunted. All right, guys, have a good night. We'll see you all guys next week.
Take care.
Good night.
Can you give me a name? What's your name?